gang. And Candice may be running slightly late, but that is fine. I told her that I would hold down the fort till she gets here, because you guys know that are regulars on any of my streams or my videos, I love to gab. So I can hopefully keep you guys and gals entertained until she gets here. I do have my alternate Friday Foolish shirt on, um, with me and Candace in cartoon form. So I hope you guys and gals enjoy that. But I just wanted to say something before we really get into the meat of this live stream for Friday Foolish. And by the way, we're going to be talking about favorite fall and Halloween films. And this is probably going to be a 2 or 3 parter, because me and Candace have already discussed we kind of want to keep this one at an hour. We're probably going to do that with the majority of Friday Foolish shows, because we think that, or at least I feel like, I think Candace feels like this as well, that's kind of like the magic hour for us, an hour, hour and a half. Sometimes we may go over, sometimes we may be a little bit under that. But for the most part, we're going to try to keep those around an hour or a little bit over an hour for the most part. So I hope you like the Friday the 13th light in the background. For those of you that can see that, I'm going to move my microphone over a little bit, so hopefully y'all can hear me loud and clear. Sometimes I forget to pull that over. But something I wanted to ask everybody that's in here right now: do y'all ever watch those reels, those shorts that show up on Facebook when you're logged in? Because I have become a big fan of those things as of late. I found a lot of them very humorous. And I've shared some with Steve. I shared one with Candace just a little bit ago. I share some of the ones, especially the horror ones or Halloween related ones, that are very, very pertinent to, seasonal or whatever. Steve, I can't see the emoji, but it's face orange TV shape. So I'm guessing maybe it's like a Halloween type emoji. I don't know why sometimes the emojis show up and sometimes they don't. It's weird. But anyway, some, like I said, sometimes I can see the emojis that Steve and other people put, and sometimes it shows up just as a text. So you guess. But I just wanted to share that with people, those reels. You should sometime just, kind of sit down and take a look at those if you've got some time. I know some people might consider it just a complete waste of time, but I find a lot of them so enjoyable. But anyway, um, get a little housekeeping stuff out of the way while I'm waiting for Candace. Um, of course, there will be no watch alongs this weekend. I'm going to try to do a Terror Time Tea pre recorded at some point tonight. Sunday, I'm going to try to do a Scare Fest. I know, and I apologize that I didn't do a countdown to Scare Fest like I did Countdown to Horror Hound Weekend. I did several of those and kept you up, or tried to keep everybody updated on if there were any cancellations of guests. I can tell you, just a heads up, I heard that unfortunately Joe Dante had to cancel. I think he canceled Wonderfest and he had to cancel this one. So um, for those of you that were planning on going, I hope you weren't planning on going just for the sole purpose of meeting Joe Dante, because unfortunately he had to cancel. But I'll give y'all a rundown of everything related to Scarefest that I can find out on Sunday. It will probably be a pre recorded one, and then I'll just put it out later. Um, so, for the 4 of you that are in here, if anybody wants to jump in the chat other than my dear husband, and my dear husband can comment too. But Does anybody want to mention any of their favorite fall or Halloween films? As you're going to see when me and Candace start talking about some of ours, um, all of them don't have to have a Halloween theme to them. They can just feel like fall or feel like Halloween. So we're going to be bringing up different ones. Steve, you can throw some of yours out there. I'm not excluding you. You want to watch Cobweb again? Yeah, we ain't watched that for a while, actually. Um, yeah, I'd want to watch that with you. I want to watch the. Actually, something I do want to watch with Steve, and I thought he was going to continue watching it today because I heard him watching part of it, and I wasn't quite ready to sit down yet. Was the AMC Fear Fest, and Joe Bob and Darcy, I think, were doing the Friday the 13th thing, and I think they had Adrian King as a guest on there and all that good stuff. But he didn't continue watching it, so I'm not sure why we didn't end up watching that today. But I definitely want to watch that. And I now see that Candace has popped on here. But I am going to, because I meant to get me another one of these. You guys know this stuff runs through my veins, right? Because I drink so much of it. But I'm going to take myself out of the stream. I'm going to come right back. I'm going to add Candace, and then we're gonna go to town here on these movies. So I will be right back. Oh wow, I went away and there's a whole flood of people that came in here. So Phil's in here. Hey Phil. I have not seen Terrifier 3 yet, but I thought I seen Chris post something about how he survived it or something. When I get Candace on here, we'll see if Chris had seen Terrifier. And hey, TJ. So we got TJ and Phil and my dear husband in here. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and add Candace here.
Hey there.
So did Chris indeed see Terrifier 3 or did I read that wrong on Facebook?
I don't know if he's seen it or not. Not that I know of, but he
Okay.
may have.
I may have read it wrong or something. I thought it said something about how he survived it or something like that. I don't know.
I don't know, Dana. He very well probably could have seen it.
Maybe it wasn't Chris. Maybe I look. You ever look at something real fast and think it's somebody, and
Yeah.
it's you look at it again and it's like, what the heck? That wasn't who I thought it was saying that.
If he hops on here because he I think he's either on a break or at work right now. I don't know. I had to bring groceries in. That's why I'm a little bit late.
Cryptex is in here. Hey, Cryptex. TJ says, well, Phil says he's seen the trailer. TJ says, I don't know why people were getting sick. It's gory, but not that bad. TJ, I'm wondering if it's one of those things where, like the Exorcist thing, which I don't mean to bring up the Exorcist. I know that but I do have that in my stack of movies. I don't know if I'm going to get to it tonight. Candace's going to say, Dana, don't be talking about that movie. But back when that movie first came out, people were getting sick in the theater and stuff like that. And it really did not have anything to do with the possession scenes. the puking up the pea soup, the spinning the head around, all that. What it had to do with was when she was being checked out, and I don't know what this was. It almost looked like it was a CAT scan, but goodness gracious, back in the 70s, were CAT scans that brutal? Because I've had a CAT scan run before and it wasn't anything like that. What they did to her was it appeared, in the movie that they ran a needle into the blood vessel or artery in her
Ooh.
neck, and I guess they ran dye through there, and then the next thing you know, they were looking at like X-rays of her brain. And I was like, I don't know what that is. But later on, they talked about they would have to run another encephalogram. So maybe it was an encephalogram. I'm not familiar with that as far as medical types of things, and I've never had one, thank goodness. If that's what it's like, I don't want anything like that. Hey, Russell. Uh, TJ, you say maybe I'm just dead inside. No, I don't think that's it, TJ. I think some people, and I don't mean this a mean way, I think some people really are sensitive to that kind of stuff and probably shouldn't be watching that stuff anyway. And then I think some people put on a big show, if you know what I mean by that.
No,
And
I don't like torture.
yeah,
It bothers me. I don't know. I mean, it's something that just the way I am, and it
mhm.
really physically makes me ill, I guess. Not sick to my stomach, but like in my body.
Like emotionally
Yeah,
ill or something like
yeah.
that. Yeah,
I don't like anything to do with kids or anything like that getting
mhm.
hurt or, it bothers me. I don't know. I remember I think I've told you this before, Dana. The first time I ever seen Toxic Avenger,
Mhm.
the scene where the little boy and the bicycle,
Yeah.
it was right after my 14-year-old cousin had got killed on a ATV.
Mhm.
And me and his sister was sitting there, and I had a theater in my house. So I had like a 90-inch screen with projector and all that stuff, and that's what we were watching it on. So we seen that, and I wasn't expecting that. And it sent us both into a really bad panic attack. It was just like, you know, it's supposed to be funny, I think.
Yeah.
But for us, I guess where we had experienced that trauma, it was really, I don't know, shocking, I guess. Does that
I
make
thought,
sense?
in all these years, I had not watched The Toxic Avenger until Joe Bob showed it. And when I
Really?
saw that scene, I was like,
I
whoa,
think
what
it kinda
the
takes you
heck?
yeah, kinda takes you back, and I've never watched it beyond that point because I just couldn't. I said, "I'm not
Mhm.
watching it." But I think things, um, do different things to different people. Like, I could
Mhm.
watch something like Hellraiser and it not bother me at all.
Right.
You know what I mean? But if I watch something else, it could affect me. I'm not real sensitive to stuff. Gore doesn't really bother me. I just don't prefer it. Does that make sense?
Mhm. Yeah,
I don't
makes
prefer it.
perfect sense.
Yeah.
Now, when my brother was little, and I think I may have told this story before, I don't know if I told it to Candace or not, but when my brother was a lot younger, and there's 6 years between me and my brother, I wanted to watch Halloween 2, and this was not Halloween 2, the theatrical version. This was Halloween 2 on television. It came on Fox 44, our local Fox 44 channel, and it came on at night. And he didn't even get past the beginning credits where the pumpkin opens up and there's the skull inside.
Yeah.
And I think the combination of that and that bizarre, music that John Carpenter was so
Yeah.
great at creating, he started screaming,
Oh my god.
and he would not stop until my mom turned it, and I looked at him, and if looks could kill, I would have killed my brother right then, because I was like, I wanted to watch that.
Yeah.
So, number one, he was fine watching it in the day. It came on like a day later
Ye
through the middle of the day. because that's how they did things on that channel.
Mm.
They would show it like a night on a night, and then a day or two later, they would show it like in the noon hour, like
Yeah.
during lunchtime. And he was fine watching it then. And also after that, he watched Hellraiser.
Yeah.
Now, you guys and gals
Hellraiser is
have seen
pretty.
Hellraiser. It's like, why ain't you scared of damn Pinhead and the
Yeah.
stoplights
Like,
tearing
it's
people apart and stuff?
Halloween is so much milder than Hellraiser. Hey, Russell.
Mm.
I just wanted to
TJ says
talk.
that when we all see it, we can chat about it. I don't know that Candace will watch it though,
I don't
TJ.
really have interest in it, to be honest with you. I've never,
Now, I like the first Terrifier,
mm,
but I've said over and over again, me and Steve had the same reaction after watching Terrifier 2. We looked at each other and a beat went, and we said, that was too over the top. And usually me and Steve don't say the exact same thing about a
yeah.
film, but we did in that case.
No, I'm not gonna say I'm never gonna watch it because something could happen. I could watch it. I think I will say this. I do think his name's Art, right? The clown.
Art the Clown, yeah.
I like his design. I like his look. He's creepy.
He's definitely creepy.
He's
And when he
creepy.
smiles, it's
Yeah.
like in the first one, I found myself being creeped out and laughing at the same time.
Now I have seen a clip. I don't know, like it seems like it was years ago. Whenever it probably first come out, the first one came out or something. Ghost back there eating on himself. Um, But I remember seeing a clip where they're like in a diner and he's like sitting at a chair, like
That's
a
from
table.
that's
Is
the
that from the
first
first
one.
one?
Yeah.
And he's like looking at that girl, and so I remember watching that. And
And
I was
all
like,
of a
"What
sudden
is
he
this?"
just goes
Yeah, it was because I didn't know what it was. I think this is before everybody started talking about it and stuff like that. And I was like, "What is this?" And you know me and clowns, I'm not huge on clowns anyway. So, I was like, "Oh my gosh!" And then my brother uh, got a shirt of it or a hoodie or something. I was like, "Have you seen that?" He said, "Yeah." Now my brother, talk about somebody. When my brother was younger, and I know this was like a preteen, probably about 11 or 12. I forget whenever Rob Zombie's Halloween came out. I forget how old he was, but I remember taking him to the movies to see it, and the scene where Michael takes the other little boy and they're out in the forest and he starts beating him to death.
Oh yeah.
I looked over at my brother. This is no joke. And if I think my brother's asleep, I don't think he's watching, but if he was, he would confirm it. I looked over and he was ghost white and gripping on to the
Uh,
seat, the seats, the arm of the seat. Well, I ought to known that something like that would bother him because I'll tell you here just in a sec. Let me finish this one, and then I'll go back to that. Go to the reason why I should have known. But he was about ready to pass out, Dana. And the guy sitting next to us seen CJ and gave him some milk duds. And he was like, "Hey, buddy, you all right?" And he was like my brother was like he was getting ready to pass out because
uh-huh.
he just could not stand the torture aspect of it. Now,
Yeah,
this is coming from my brother now who loves anything horror. I mean,
right.
he's gore, whatever. Stuff doesn't bother him anymore. This is a guy that can watch any kind of possession movie or anything in the pitch dark by himself, you know. So he's not like that anymore. He outgrew that, but he hated horror movies as a kid. And I remember trying and trying and trying my best to get him to watch the Evil Dead stuff and Army of Darkness, and he would not.
Yeah.
And I finally forced him into watching Army of Darkness first, and he loved it. And I
Mhm.
think that was kind of his introduction into going further and further and further.
That
But
was a good way to get him into it.
it was because he was interested in watching like the second one and the first one, he was interested in going and it just kept on going and going and going. But I ought to known, and my brother would kill me if he knew that I told him. So when my brother was young, and this was before the Halloween thing, um, I forget how old he couldn't have been 10 years old. Pan's Labyrinth was on TV, and I had never seen it, and it was late at night. My dad was going to work. My dad was a co-truck driver, so he was at work. And it was probably about 2 or 3 in the morning. It was the weekend, and we didn't have school. And we had just moved into a house, and all we had was a mattress in the living room.
Mm-hmm.
And my brother was sleeping on the couch, and I was sleeping in the mattress because we hadn't moved into our rooms yet. And it was back whenever we had the floor model TV still.
Yeah.
And we were sitting there watching TV, and I had turned it on. And I don't know much about Pan's Labyrinth because I've never seen it again, but I had started watching it and I was enjoying it. And he was just laying there watching it with me. Then it got to a scene where this old man gets his nose punched in, like it literally like he this guy punches his nose in or something like that. I forget what happened. My brother went ballistic. I mean, he started screaming, flipping off the TV. My brother was like 10 years old. He started like cussing at the TV, calling that guy every name in the book. My mom wakes up out of a dead sleep saying, "What's going on? What's going on?" If my mom's watching this right now, she's probably like, "Oh God, Candace, don't tell us." She's like, "What are you doing to him?" I was like, "I'm not doing nothing." Well, my brother starts punching the door. He went crazy because he couldn't stand like the torture. That man was getting
Yeah.
tortured. And he had a really big response to that. And I was like, that's not normal. But my brother's normal. And, he
Yeah.
didn't do that again. But that was just a really big response. And I was like, what in the world? Why was he responding that way? He just couldn't take that kind of thing. He had like my really big empathy. And I guess it just really bothered him. But today he could probably watch that and be like, I don't know why I went crazy. But we always tease him about it. And
Oh.
he's like, "I didn't do that." I said, "Yes, you did do that." Mom said, "Well, I don't know what you did and what you didn't do, but I know that I've come in there thinking Candace was doing something to you, was
Oh.
aggravating you, and you got mad at her or something like that." But he was mad because that was on there. And he said, "Why did you make me watch it?" I said, "I never made you watch it." But stuff can give a different response to anybody,
Mhm.
different responses to people. And sometimes stuff affects you one way one time and then you watch it again and then it don't affect you anymore. It's kind of
Mm.
like getting desensitized from watching horror films. You
Yeah.
know, you get to a point where nothing bothers you. Have you gotten to that point, Diana, where just nothing bothers you?
Well, I mean, I thought I had, and then me and Steve watched Terrifier 2, and that I mean, it wasn't something that I thought about long after the movie was over. It didn't
Yeah,
keep me from sleeping or anything like that. It was just like, really? Like, am I getting weak here? Used to I would watch anything, and now
yeah.
am I getting old? What's happening to me here? I kind of thought about it in those terms.
I don't know. I think it's just according to what you are feeling emotionally at the time, too.
Hmm.
But that kind of goes hand in hand what we're talking about here today about our favorite Halloween and fall movies and stuff like that. Because why do we watch them during the fall? It's because, I mean, we can watch the movies that we're going to be talking about any time of the year, but what
Yeah,
makes them special during Halloween and the fall is because of the feeling that Halloween and fall gives you. It gives you
yeah,
that feeling of, to me, the fall and just knowing that Halloween and spooky season's around gives me a feeling of euphoria, of
it does me too.
excitement,
Hmm.
and it also makes me like feel like a kid again. Like there's a magic, like to Christmas, there's a magic to Christmas.
Hmm.
There's also a magic to Halloween
Yeah,
that it's
I
just
feel that way too.
yeah, and these movies kind of invoke that into me especially, and I'm sure everybody else feels that way too. So,
That's
I
why I was always so sad when my
yeah,
first library job back home. I would always ask the kids that would come in the library, "Where y'all gonna be for Halloween?" And usually I would get, the standard answers, or I'm gonna be a monster, or the girls would be a princess, or the boys tended to be more the scarier
yeah,
stuff, and the girls weren't like when I was a girl. Now my mom would dress me up cute like a
yeah,
ghost, a happy clown. When
mhm,
I was so little, I couldn't make those choices myself. But when I got older, I started dressing like Michael Myers, Jason,
yeah.
Freddy, um, and Mom probably longed for the days when she could dress me up cute. Now I'm covered in fake blood and got masks on and stuff like that. And she's probably, where did my beautiful little girl go? Yeah.
When I was a kid, I would dress up as Kiss. I was
Hmm.
Jane Simmons one year, Peter Criss.
That's cool though.
Yeah, witches. I always loved being witches. I don't know. There's something about
I
it.
think I was a
Kid.
witch one time.
A
Yeah.
cat, a black cat. I think I was one year. Then remember the outfits that you would get. They were like plastic. You put them over you, and then they
Yeah.
would. I would think I was Cinderella one time, and Minnie Mouse, and had those plastic masks and stuff. And then I was like,
Yeah.
I really like dressing up like finding my own stuff. And I remember when I got into Kiss, I was like, I'm gonna be Peter Criss this year. Or I'm gonna be Gene
Yeah,
Simmons this year.
creating, kind of creating your own
Yeah.
stuff. But the thing that made me sad was some of the kids would come in there and they would just look so sad, Candace. And
Oh.
they would say, "We don't celebrate
Oh
Halloween."
my goodness. Who don't sell? Well, I know there's some people don't. I shouldn't say it
And
because I know there's some people
I
don't.
know some people, like when I went to school, like when I was in middle school, there were some people that I went to school with that they said, Halloween's an evil holiday. My parents don't let me dress up and go
Well,
trick or treating. And I was like, my parents never, ever, ever did that to me.
no, Lord, no. Halloween's my mom always had those really awesome Bistille, like cutouts she would stick up on the windows. And I
Yeah.
always remember the really cool witch with a big cauldron and bubbles and ghosts and skeletons busting out of old creepy windows. That's
Mhm.
what cemented my love for like Halloween. Just I remember carving pumpkins and you
Yeah.
know I realize everybody has different views, and I respect everybody's views, but yeah, I couldn't imagine life without Halloween. I
I
loved
couldn't
it.
either. And mom always made it fun. I mean, we carved
Yeah.
the pumpkins.
Mhm.
Mom would make chili. I mean,
Yeah.
that was a big
Bobbing for
thing.
apples. That's something that nobody does anymore, and rightfully so. I can understand why people don't bob for apples
It's
anymore.
probably for since COVID for hygiene reasons.
But we used to do that. My mom would get a
Yeah,
bucket, and we would do that. I remember bobbing for apples. That was so
mom
fun.
mom would take us to the Halloween parties at the
Mhm.
elementary school, and
That
we'd
was
go
so
in the
fun.
haunted house,
I
and
loved it, yeah.
it was
Going to school and
magic.
showing yeah, and going and showing off your costume, like, wearing it to school, you could wear your costume to school and people be like, "Oh, it's awesome," and then
And,
see
and
everybody
then
else and
and then I don't know if they did this in your neck of the woods, Candace, but in my hometown, later on, like after I was far too old to go to school Halloween parties and stuff, they stopped calling them Halloween parties. They
mm,
started having to call them fall festivals. It's like, what the heck? Call them Halloween party.
yeah,
Why,
some
why can't you do that anymore?
I see people doing that, and then these trunk or treat things
Then they, yeah,
took
they,
over, which
that's not trick or treating to me. I'm sorry.
I'm not, like, I'm not against those because those can be fun too, and people really create some really nice looking, like trunk, they
Right.
like Harry Potter themed trunk. Those are fun, especially for schools and libraries and stuff like that. But the real thing that I love is going house to
Door
house.
to
I mean,
door.
that was
Yeah.
something. I mean, as a kid, I mean, you felt like this is there was a magic to it. There still is a magic. I still get to do that, thank God, that I can still go do that with Noah.
Mhm.
But I'm sure whenever Noah gets to the age where he's no longer gonna wanna do that, I want to, pass out candy and stuff because that would
See,
be just
that's
so
what I
fun.
do. And I love it, Candace. And
Mhm.
Steve never did it. When he
Yeah.
was a bachelor, he didn't do that sort of thing. But when we got married, I told him, I said, "Now listen, now I'm going to decorate." And I'm going to hand out candy to those trick or treaters every year that
Yeah.
I possibly can. And I love it every year doing that. It's just
We
so
always
much
loved
fun.
it, because just some of my fondest memories, my aunt, my sissy, I call her, my aunt, she was like my Halloween buddy, my spooky buddy,
Mhm.
and,
My
horror
aunt was
watching
too.
movie buddy,
My
you
aunt
know?
Sandy.
So, just the growing up, seeing these movies for the first time, we would always watch, like, the Halloween movies and the Jasons and
Yeah.
Leprechaun and all that good stuff. Now my papa, Bob, my dad's dad, My dad didn't like horror movies. I think they frightened him. He just didn't like them. He wasn't for them. And but my papa loved them.
Mhm.
And that's where I've seen House of the Thousand Corpses for the first time was with my
I
papa.
just think
He
that's
was
so
watching it.
wild that your papa would watch that.
He just sat
My
there.
papa or granddaddy would have never
Oh,
watched
my
anything
papa, he
like that.
watched them. And I remember the first time I went into his room and he was watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre and it had just come up.
Oh,
And I
uh-huh.
could read at an early age, so I knew what I said, Papa, this is based on a true story. I said, what is this? He said, this is Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And he said, it is. He said, there's I said, well, what is it? What's it about? And he said, well, it's based off of serial killers. Like he said, the one's named Ed Gein, and then he's like, talking to me about it and stuff. And he said, you want to watch it? And I said, no. Out of there. But if it had been my aunt, I'd probably sit there and watched it with her because she'd have made me watch
I
it with
think
her.
I watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre for the first time with my aunt, but I had heard about it and I was like,
Yeah.
I gotta watch this movie. And so me and Sandy, I think we rented it
Hmm.
and watched it.
And I remember my papa, like he like watched like The Exorcist and stuff. It never bothered him. He just like would sit there. I remember when the House of the Thousand Corpses was on, and I had to stay with him for some reason. My mom had to go somewhere with my grandma, and it was just me and him. And walked in there, he was just sitting there watching TV, tinkering with his watch, watching that. And I was like, Papa, what is this? He said, it's called House of a Thousand Corpses. It's like, oh my gosh. And I was
It's just wild. I'm just
I
trying to
love
imagine a papa watching
my
that stuff.
papa was this guy wore overalls
Yeah,
or flannel
yeah.
shirts,
That's like my
tinkering,
papa, my
you
dad's
know,
dad.
a woodworker, a hard outdoor man. You would never thought that he loved horror. I think that's where my aunt got her love of horror films from. And my grandma she wasn't she like would sit and look at them, but I don't think she would choose to watch them. But she
No.
wasn't like turning away. So I always thought that was cool because I was like, my papa likes horror
I
movies and
think
stuff.
I attribute my love of horror movies to my mom because
And
my
my mom
dad would
never was one.
my dad would watch them, and him and my mom. I've told these stories a bunch of times. Went to drive-ins and watched a ton
Yeah.
of stuff. That's where they saw Gates of Hell
Mhm.
for the first time. And they would take me and my brother. They took my brother when he was a little baby. I'm sure that he doesn't remember that in the car seat, little tiny baby. But I was, 6 years older, so I do remember things. I remember them taking me at least to prom night.
Yeah.
And I remembered the beginning of prom night. That's all I remembered from it is those girls or girls and a boy playing a game of hide and seek, but it was the killers are coming. And this one girl, Robin, she wanted to play with them and they didn't like her. And so they were scaring her and they backed her up against a window and she fell to her death
Yeah.
out this window. And it's one of those revenge scenarios. Somebody's getting revenge on them at their own prom for Robin's death 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And so that was the part I remembered. I remembered little Robin falling out the window, and I remembered those kids that the killer is coming, kill, kill, kill. And it was all out of context. I was like
Mhm.
thinking to myself, were these kids trying to kill
Yeah.
her? Were they evil kids? But they weren't. They were
Yeah.
just, kids,
Yeah.
and sometimes kids don't make the best choices, unfortunately.
Oh, that's true.
And
But, first, before we start talking, I wish we talked about some movies and stuff like that, but I'd like to ask anybody in the chat, what's your favorite Halloween or fall movies? It doesn't necessarily have to be a horror film. It could be, anything. I love watching the cartoons like the Winnie
yeah,
the Pooh like specials and the
and
Scooby Doo stuff and
yeah, the Peanuts, It's a Great
Peanuts.
Pumpkin, Charlie Brown,
Mhm.
which I actually, hold on a sec here, if I can find it. Steve will probably say, I didn't know you had that if he's watching this. But I did. I just got this in not very long
Mhm.
ago. This is the 4K of It's a Great
Yeah.
Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. And I have
That's a Halloween must.
this one and the Christmas one
Yes, yeah.
I have on 4K now. But
Yeah, but every year we watch that. We watch the great it's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. We love Peanuts, so that's one we watch every year. The Halloween Tree is one that Chris likes real good, and I
I
like
need
it
to watch
too.
that one.
Yeah. But I tell you, when I think of like whenever it comes around this time, my go-to films are the Adams Family
Hmm.
movie, Adams Family Values, um, Casper.
Yep.
I really love Casper with Christina Ricci and um, Bill. Is that Bill Pullman that's in it?
I want to say, yeah.
Bill Pullman and Devon Sawa. Um, that's one I just watched it the other day, and you know, because that's what I grew up with in the '90s. You know, I went to the movies and seen them and loved them, and we just really, you know, I kind of gravitate to that kind of thing as those '90s Halloween type. But I love the Adams Family.
Hmm.
Hey, let me let Ghost out. I think he's wanting out. Give me a second. I'm gonna because
Okay.
these boys are gonna start fighting if I don't. I'm gonna take
Oh
my set
boy,
back.
yeah, we don't want that. While
Give me that
Candace is away, I'm going to talk about one of mine in my stack over here because I don't know if this is one that a lot of people have seen or not. And this is the WNUF Halloween special. And you can see it appears like I love this packaging. I think this was what was it Vinegar Syndrome? Was it Vinegar Syndrome that put this out? I want to say Vinegar Syndrome sold these. Um, but the outer cover looks like an old, VHS. It looks like something somebody's recorded and even put Halloween stickers on it and all that. Candace, do you want to continue with what you were talking about, or do you want me
No,
to?
you go ahead.
I'm not even sure if Candace has seen or heard of the WNUF Halloween
Mm-mm.
special. This one actually was released in the 90s, I believe, or maybe early 2000s. And Steve introduced me to this. And believe it or not, I'm not that naive. But at first, when we first started watching this thing, I thought it was a real thing till it really got deep into it. And then I was like, Steve, this isn't a real thing, is it? No, it's not a real thing. But like I said, I love this packaging because it looks like an old
VHS.
VHS that
Mm.
someone has written. WNUF Halloween special, wrote the date 10/31/87. It's supposed to take place in 87. And I like the inner cover too. This is the inner cover. The kid's in his Halloween costume and he's got his mouth open like he's watching this WNUF Halloween special. And the thing that I love about this thing is it's got so much nostalgia in it because they're supposed to be leading up to a live like news broadcast where one of the reporters from WNUF is going to go to this supposedly haunted house in town and things go horribly awry. I'll just say that. Um, but interspersed between this live broadcast and leading up to it, you have old fashioned Halloween type commercials that the makers of this little film have created.
Oh, cool.
And so they looked and they felt a lot like that stuff I grew up watching when it got Halloween time, those old vintage commercials. And you can watch a ton of those on YouTube.
Yeah, yeah.
You can watch hours upon hours of vintage Halloween commercials. So I think that the makers of this film had the right idea. They knew how to tap into that nostalgia factor. And I think that's where a big part of their audience came from. Those kids that were now adults that grew up watching this similar type of stuff. But then when it really kicks into high gear, when things go horribly awry with this supposedly live broadcast, it's like, oh, now we're into horror film
Oh,
territory here. So you get both. You get the nostalgia of those old fashioned Halloween commercials, and you get the heart pumping, kind of gut wrenching, get your heart sped up and stuff like that type of adrenaline rush of the
I'll have to
horror.
check that one out.
Um, you know, you might want to check with Chris. It could be possible that he
He
has this.
could, he could. I don't think he's in here because 'cause I've not seen him write anything, but I'll ask him. He might
But
be
yeah,
busy.
if you have not seen the WNUF Halloween special, I urge you to like. Don't go out and buy it. Like I always say, don't go out and buy it just because Dana says this is a lot of fun. Because you might watch it and you might say this sucks. I don't know what Dana's talking about. She's out of her head. She must have been smoking the wacky weed or something. But anyways, but if you can find it for free, um, I didn't notice this either until I was just laying this down and the light from my computer desk is hitting it. And it says, what does it say? Crap tape, test first. It's like somebody's wrote that in ink pen that it's a crap tape and you should test it first. But anyway, yeah, I highly recommend this one. If you can find it, you might be able to find it on Tubi. You might be able to find it on YouTube for free. I liked it so well when Steve showed me a download of it that when this came out, I was like, I got to buy this. Um, Chris says it's on Shutter. Thank you, Chris. He says, I remember watching part of it after Last Drive-In went off one night. So, Chris, what the part that you saw, did you enjoy it? And or it was on Shutter, may not be on there now, but you can check Shutter if you have Shutter. I would check there first and see if it's still on there. I haven't looked for it in a while, but I'm come to think of it, I think I do remember seeing it on there at one time. But I hate to leave when I'm going to turn this over to Candace, but I've been drinking too much caffeine and I got to run to the restroom. So I'm going to take myself out, but I'm going to let Candace entertain y'all while I'm gone
How
away.
much of that I can do, but I'll try my best. No, but I mean, thinking about like Halloween and stuff like that, when it comes Halloween and fall, I really get nostalgic. I guess that's why I kind of go towards the stuff that I knew as a kid, like the Peanuts and uh the Adams Family and Casper and stuff. But I'll tell you, I love watching the Universal Monster stuff during this season too, because to me that's where my foundation is those old classic films, and I don't know, it just gives it an extra like specialness whenever you're watching it during the fall. And I just think they're the perfect films to watch during the fall. And, besides the classics like the Halloween, you could have a Halloween marathon and the Friday the 13th films and stuff. But I'll tell you another one that it's just, it takes it to a whole new level. Like you can watch it any time of the year, and it's not a Halloween film. It's not a fall film, really. It's not at all. But Carrie is one that I just love watching during this time of the year. I don't know what it is about watching Carrie during the fall, but it amplifies the spookiness of it. I love it watching that. That's like one of my go-to films during the fall if I want to sit down and have a marathon or something. Carrie is one that I really enjoy. Do you feel that way about Carrie, Dana? It's not a Halloween film, it's not a fall film, but there's something about watching it during this time of the year that
Yeah,
it kind of amplifies how like the specialness of it. I don't know, the spookiness of it.
I think too, for me, the nostalgia factor hits, and the nostalgia factor for me is very high during the fall Halloween.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree with that. I think, like I said, like the Halloween films are a given, like the Friday the 13th stuff. But I think probably the first time I seen Carrie for the first time was probably during this time of the year. And that might kind of resonate with me whenever I do see it. That's why it feels different when I watch it during, because it's one of my favorite horror films of all time. To me, it's one of the greatest ever made. I don't know. It's just something about Sissy Spacek and her performance of that, and just I mean, I love the novel.
Yeah.
I just love everything about Carrie. I think it's just a really well put together film, and I don't know. It's just something about watching it during this time of the year that I really love. Um, but I'll tell you a movie that I really enjoy, and I'd like to watch it here soon. Is with Ernest Borgnine, The Devil's Rain.
Mm. Mhm.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a really good one. And Chris enjoys that one too. I've not watched that in a really long time.
I'll tell you another good one that's very creepy is Race with the Devil.
Race with the Devil. Yeah, I've seen
Oh my
that.
gosh, that final
Yeah.
scene. I don't want to give it away for anybody that hadn't seen Race with the Devil, but that final scene gives me chills watching it.
There's another really good one. I've only seen it one time. Chris, I always forget the title to this film, but I seen it and I fell in love with it and I need to watch it again. Chris, what is that movie that I watched that one time that I always forget the name of, but I would really like to suggest it to people because it's a really good movie. I forget who's the lead guy in it. I forget who's the lead. Is it? My gosh, drawing a blank, Dana, of who the guy is. It's a really good movie. He's like, it's not, it's not Roddy McDowell. Chris, if you know what I'm talking about, will you let me know? Because I probably should have looked this up before thinking about it, but it just popped into my mind, and it's a really good movie, and I want people to know about it. So
Chris does say his dad loves Race
he
with the
does,
Devil.
yeah, he
Race
likes Race
with the
to the Devil.
Devil's. Steve actually got me a double feature of that of Dirty Mary, Crazy
Mhm.
Larry,
Yeah.
and Race with the Devil, both of which have Peter Fonda.
Now, what is the one with my dad absolutely loved this movie? Duel. Duel is a
Mm,
good one. I mean,
with
it's not
Dennis
like a horror.
Weaver.
Well, it kind of is a. Would you say it's a horror film?
At least suspense.
Yeah, suspense.
Mhm.
It definitely is. Duel is a good one,
Yeah.
but you got like you don't know if the driver of the truck is supernatural. I mean, you see him,
Mhm.
but is he, the way he kind of just shows up, it's like it's not humanly possible either. I love those truck films like that,
I
like
do
the
too.
Maximum Overdrive. That's another good
Yeah.
one to watch during this time of year. Chris
What
is
is
in
it? Joyride. You remember that
yeah,
one?
yeah. And sometimes they come back.
Yeah.
Sometimes they come back for more. Those are,
Mhm.
car movies and stuff. I like Christine. It's really good to watch during this time of year. Chris, it's that movie. It's not. Oh my gosh, I can't remember who's in it. You know me, I can't. You told me about it the other day because I brought it up to you, and you was like, "You mean?" Because I couldn't remember who was in it. He goes up on that like not a pedestal, but like a altar. I forget. It's like from the 70s, early 70s. I, I forget who's in it though. I wish I could remember
You're not
something.
talking about The Omen, are you, Candice?
No, no, Lord.
No.
I like the Omen too. That's a good one.
I
He
was
remembers what
thinking
I'm
of
talking
Gregory Peck or something, maybe.
about. No, 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 no. The Dunwich Horror. That's it.
Oh, the Dunwich Horror. Okay,
That, that,
cool.
that is a awesome film. I watched it a
Yeah.
few years ago for the first time. Who is in that? Who's in that, Chris? Who's the lead guy? Sorry about going dark here for a second.
Um,
I'm gonna like I know who it is. I
is
just can't.
Donald Pleasance in that one?
Is it Donald Pleasance?
Or am I
Dean
confusing?
Stockwell. Dean Stockwell. Duh.
Oh, Dean Stockwell. Okay.
Yeah, Sandra Dee and Ed Begley.
Al from Quantum Leap. Yeah.
Yeah, Al from Quantum Leap. Yeah, it's one of the greatest shows ever made. That was one of my
Yes,
dad's all-time
I
favorite
love
shows.
Quantum Leap. I
My
absolutely
dad
love it.
loved. I actually have it's like from my old magazine. It's actually like a long poster in my bedroom. It's of uh, of a Quantum Leap. It's really
Oh,
cool.
cool. Hey, Victor. I actually talked to Victor today. Like, I sent him a private message through Discord, and talk to him today. But Victor says Race with the Devil is one of my all time favorite movies. Saw it on a little black and white TV in the 70s and it scared the poop out of me. Still love it. That was probably the best way to see it, Victor, was to see it for the first time that way. And
Dunwich Horror
Victor
is
loves
awesome.
Dunwich Horror. He says it's
Yeah.
awesome, Lovecraft horror.
Listen, if you've never seen it, it's really good. I need to watch it again. That way it can be like cemented in my mind what it is. I always forget. And I always forget that that's Dean Stockwell that's in that.
I love
But
Dunwich Horror, but there's another one that I'm trying to think of, and it has Donald Pleasance in it. And I remember in it, it's where they accuse the women of witchcraft in this town, and Donald Pleasance is in it, and he's picking
yeah,
worms. He's got a face where he's got worms in his
I think I know what you're talking about, Dana. Hold on just one second. Let me.
and why am I forgetting the name of that dang movie?
Well, if my stuff will. Lord, I can't go through all these films. It'd take me all day looking for that.
Devonsville Terror. That's correct, Victor.
I don't even see that one on here.
Thank you. But they used to show
I,
Devonsville Terror and Dunwich Horror, I think, as a kind of like a double bill or something. But
I've seen him in something like that before. I couldn't remember what it was called, but that's probably the same one that we're thinking about or that
yeah,
you're
and
talking about.
the guy's head melts at the end because the woman does turn out to be a witch, and she like shoots lasers out of her eyes. I know it sounds corny, but it was fun when I was a kid, and I still like to watch it from time to
Yeah,
time.
you know those like 70s films and stuff and really good films that horror was to me like late 60s, early 70s.
Yeah,
You can find some really good gems in there. Um if you just look hard enough. A lot of people these days, they don't want to go back to the classic stuff.
right.
And I've talked to a lot of younger people. Not to say that there's not some young people that love the classic stuff, but they're like, "Oh no,
Yeah,
Terrifier and
they tend to go
Terrifier
to
and
the
Terrifier."
more modern stuff.
They don't want to go back to the classic stuff. I was like, "Listen, you may like it." And some of that stuff is because I love like the haunted house type films from
Yeah.
the 60s and 70s and stuff. That's the kind of stuff
The
that I really.
Haunting and stuff like
Mhm.
that with
Yeah,
Julie Harris, and
yeah. I
that
love
stuff is
that.
incredible.
Yeah,
Uh,
burnt offerings,
Burnt Offerings, yeah.
that's a great one. But, looking past, like, films, the fall really brings out because I watch the Munsters anytime, but the fall really is a time I really get into the Munsters and the Addams Family and, like, the TV shows. I go, like, watch the
Mhm.
Roseanne special, the
Oh, all
Halloween
the
special.
yeah, the Simpsons when they would
Yeah,
have the
Big
Treehouse of
House,
Horror
yeah.
things. Yeah, that stuff was great.
Yeah. I always love, like, Are You Afraid of the Dark, like, from Nickelodeon and Goosebumps and Erie, Indiana, that's a great one.
Yeah.
Erie, Indiana, I don't know if you ever watched Erie, Indiana or
I
not.
did, and I had the whole series back there, and I haven't dug it back out to watch it again.
The episode with the twins, the ones that was in Gremlins 2,
Mhm.
and the Tupperware, that I don't know if you know which one I'm talking about, but that one always
Vaguely.
is. Yeah, that one's always stuck in my head, like, they're keeping fresh by sleeping in Tupperware. I just love the kitsch kind of
Yeah.
feeling that Erie, Indiana gives you. Yeah, it is the first episode, Chris. Yeah, it's the first episode of Erie, Indiana. I forget what those twins' names were, but they always creep
Or
me out.
or everywhere. That's what
Yeah,
Victor says.
yeah, that's it.
Directed by Joe Dante. Yeah, I
Mhm.
forgot
Yeah,
about
that's
that.
true, and, that's probably why they were in it, because they were in Gremlins too. You know the twins I'm talking about, Dana, the men that wears the glasses, they got, like, the red hair and the red mustache, and, they're
Yeah,
always
yeah.
talking in unison, and I don't know, they always creep me out even in Gremlins too. I know they were which I always had like, I had a fascination with twins like that because the triplets that were always on, Pee-wee. Oh, you
Yeah.
know who I'm talking about, Pee-wee's Playhouse? They would sing and play the guitar and stuff like
Yeah.
that, and yeah, I don't know why I got off on that.
I don't know why my Hellfire Club light just keeps going off. I thought it would stay on.
You have it maybe, like, on the timer?
I didn't think so. Huh, weird.
Chris said Joe Dante directed around 6 episodes, he believes.
I
Hey,
didn't
listen,
realize he directed that many.
that's probably why it's so good because I love Erie, Indiana. I always thought it was so creepy. I wish it had lasted longer. There's an episode, and I believe, my gosh, why do like I hate that's one of the reasons why I hate like talking about stuff because I never can remember anything with my brain. You know how I am, Dana.
Well, I'm getting worse and worse all the time. I worry that I've got some kind of dementia or something.
I've, I met this girl I don't know how many times, from Halloween. She was on Roseanne. My
Uh,
gosh.
oh, you talking about Danielle
Halloween.
Harris?
Yeah, Daniel Harris. I
Yeah.
think Daniel Harris is in that episode. It's a Erie, Indiana episode where this guy or this boy is their friend, but he dies and she has to take his heart because she's needing a heart transplant, but the boy gets killed and she takes his heart and she starts acting like him. And it
Mm-hmm.
like shows this scene at the end where it shows like this tombstone with an angel and it's like crying on it. I remember that episode really creeped me out as a kid, and it
Mm-hmm.
like was cemented in my brain. Yeah, she has a heart problem. Yeah, and I don't know. It's so weird because as a kid, you don't want to know that kids get sick and die and stuff like that. And I was like,
Yeah, you don't.
that really messes you up.
Yes.
So I
Uh,
don't really remember that.
Victor mentions Crowhaven Farm,
Hmm.
which is a cool made for TV film from the early 70s with Hope
Wow.
Blaine. And I have heard of Crowhaven Farm and I always wanted to watch it, but I have not yet watched that
I've
particular
not seen that one.
um so Candice, do you want to go a little bit over 7 o'clock, or do you want to stop right at 7?
We can talk just a little bit more if you want
Because
to.
I don't want to put Candace behind on, I know she's got some schoolwork and other
Yeah,
things to
I
do
got
and all
deadline.
that.
Dana knows all about it.
I'll talk about another one real quick that some people may have not heard of. And I have a real sense of nostalgia about this movie, and some people may be able to guess what I'm talking about. They'll be like, oh God, she's talking about that movie again. But I think a big part of why I like this movie is because it was filmed in Kentucky, or parts of it were filmed in Bowling Green, Kentucky. And that's Haunted Wing.
Hmm.
And what it was, unfortunately, the director, Douglas Robertson, has, in the past few years, has passed away. I believe he passed away from cancer. And I think he was just in his 50s, maybe late 50s, early 60s, which to me is young. As I'm getting ever closer to 50, that seems young. But him and a lot of the other people that worked on this film with him were alumni of Western Kentucky University, which is in Bowling Green. And one of the guys has a very southern, and it's not any stretch of the imagination for me or for Candace, because we hear these kind of accents all the time where we're from, right? And I did not grow up in Louisville, y'all. I grew up in a little itty bitty place in Hancock County. I'm not a Louisvilleite, and neither is Steve. Steve grew up in Taylor County in Campbellsville. So both of us are kind of country children, whether
And
Steve was.
I'm even more southeast than
Yeah.
what you
so, so we're used to those strong southern accents. So,
yes.
but the one guy has such a strong southern accent that people thought that was a put on. And the makers of the film said, no, Hanks, and his last name is Hanks, talk like that in real life. And when sometime after they finished this movie, I think he ended up going to law school and became a lawyer. And I think me and Steve had this conversation. Can you imagine him being a lawyer and having that really strong accent? Because I'm sure there are lawyers with strong Southern accents, and they probably do very well as lawyers. But
Well,
people thought
yeah.
they thought he was making that up, that was not his accent, but that is indeed his Brad Hanks's accent. Now I hope he's still alive, and I heard he became a lawyer in Louisville, and I was like,
Hmm.
oh man, I gotta find this guy because he's my favorite character in Haunted Wing. He's like comic relief through a lot of it.
I
And
didn't it.
hey, Blissful. Uh,
Hey.
yes, Chris, you are correct. John Carpenter is an alumni of Western Kentucky University as
Hmm.
well, which John Carpenter, for a short space of time, was in Bowling Green, Kentucky. I think he
Hmm.
pretty much grew up in the Bowling Green area or Warren County.
Yeah.
Um, but um, I just absolutely love this. I love the feel of it. It's like going back home again because these people talk like
Yeah.
people I grew up with, people that I knew around town. And Candice would probably feel the same way if she was watching this. Um, yeah, they are fraternity guys and sorority girls, and that's not really my thing. But the whole feel of the movie is like going back home because it
Yeah.
was filmed in my home state for the most part. I think a small portion of it was filmed in Tennessee, but
Hmm.
most of it was filmed in Bowling Green, Kentucky. And you can actually see the Bowling Green campus, Western
Oh,
Kentucky's
that's cool.
campus, in a couple of scenes. And my sister in law works for Western Kentucky University now. And evidently, the campus hadn't changed that much since this movie was filmed. And I think it came out in the early 90s, but they probably filmed it 88, 89, something like that, or
I've never seen
89.
it before. I've heard of it, but I've never seen it.
It actually came out in 1991. It's only 87 minutes long. But what my sister in law said, I sent her screenshots from the movie. She's like, oh, yeah, there's my office building where I work on the campus. I was like, that is so cool. So every time I watch this movie, I remind my sister in law, hey, remember Haunted Wing? That was filmed on the campus where you work. She probably gets tired of me saying that now, but it is a fun movie. It's very low budget. Some people might find it kind of hokey and
Yeah.
all that business, but I think it's definitely, definitely worth a watch. And I was thrilled to be able to get it on Blu-ray. Vinegar Syndrome put it out in one of their sets, and
Yeah.
one of those. What's it called? I can't even remember now. I don't want to waste time trying to think of it, but they come out with these sets of homegrown horrors. That's what it
Mhm.
was, and one of those recent sets that came out in Haunted Wing was in it, and Joe Garcia actually reviewed that on Facebook. I seen where he had watched it recently. I think he liked it pretty well too. So hit up Joe if you want to ask Joe.
Oh, T-shirt Joe.
Yeah, good old T-shirt Joe. Um, but yeah, I would recommend this one. It's about a bunch of or fraternity brothers who need money to pay their dues or they're going to lose their charter for their fraternity. And so they try everything and then they get the keys from this strange guy for the Berber house, which is a local house that used to be a haunted house before little Eddie Berber decided he was going to kill a young girl in the haunted
Oh my
house and had to
goodness.
close it down. And Eddie Berber is the one that brings them the keys
Oh.
to have a haunted house. And then Eddie comes back, and Eddie wants to have some real horror going on in their haunted house. So that's the basic story of Haunted Wing, but fun little movie. I think you would enjoy it, and would would give it. I'd give it 5 deadites out of 5 if I was doing my rating system. But I want to turn it over to Candace so she can talk about some more before we get off here for the
Well,
evening.
I mean, I never really had anything prepared. I was just kind of, coming thinking about whatever was coming in my head, because I mean, there's so much that you could probably watch during this time of year and stuff like that that really just, like the Burbs. That's just a given for me.
Oh, the Burbs, yeah, definitely.
Salem's Lot.
Salem's Lot. I've got that one in my stack too.
Salem's Lot, and just any kind of vampire movie. I don't know. I like the Lost Boys,
Lost
stuff
Boys.
like that. But something I was interested in, because I mean this has to do with like Halloween, fall, stuff like that. When it comes to Halloween, like celebrating Halloween and like treats, what kind of treats do you like, Dana? Are you a candy corn kind of gal, or
Well, I mean, I love the scent of candy corn, but I always say I like the mellow cream pumpkins. The mellow
I like it
cream
all?
pumpkins are my jam. Uh, I got to get some more of those things too. I probably shouldn't eat very many of
Mhm.
them because they're loaded with sugar and I'm
Yeah,
diabetic,
definitely.
but
You gotta go in moderation with that kind of thing,
yeah,
but I love candy
exactly.
corn, I love it, and they used to make, like, the little like the little fall leaves. Do you remember
Well,
those?
my neighbor Kim told me that they have those out, and she
Oh,
said they
really?
are so delicious. I got to get me some of
Well,
those.
I seen that they had some one year that we got a pack. It was like from Wa okay, like in Walmart. I don't know what kind of brand it is, but it's like the candy that they have, like, in these clear plastic, like, cellophane bags. And it was
Yeah,
candy corn, but it was like the fall leaves and little squirrels, and, it's like the pumpkins and the candy corn, it's kinda like that, but they had, like, little corn and wheat and stuff like that, but whenever you would
uh-huh.
eat it, it would taste like the candy corn. Those were really good. But, a lot of people don't like candy corn. A lot of people just wanna, like circus peanuts. I know that's not like a fall thing, but some people hate circus peanuts. I like circus peanuts myself.
My dad got me into circus peanuts. I like them.
But candy apples and
Mhm.
caramel apples, stuff like that, I
Yeah.
I love I love that kinda thing, and I'm not a big sweet person, but whenever it comes to Halloween, that's the kinda stuff. Now Noah likes those popcorn balls,
Oh yeah.
which they are good, popcorn balls are, but I don't know, you give some kids that stuff and it's just like giving them a toothbrush, they don't like, "I ain't interested."
What's this stuff? Give me some real candy.
Yeah,
But
but
have you noticed, Candace, and Noah may even be this way, but like my nephews, um, they're not big chocolate eaters. And I always love chocolate.
I I've always liked chocolate. Like I said, I'm not a big sweet person.
Hmm.
I like chocolate ever so often, but I'm not like I'll tell you, no, I take that back. When I do like want something sweet, like if it's ice cream, I prefer the chocolate.
Hmm.
But they got these bars that me and Chris love. And you can't eat too many of them because you get one and it lasts me, Chris, and Noah. We'll break a piece off here and there to eat it. They're called symphony bars, and it's got
Oh yeah.
toffee
Hmm.
all in it, and they're really huge, and I just put them in a plastic like a Ziploc bag, and if you want a little you can break a little piece off and eat it and stuff, but those are so good. I love those. Now whenever it comes to chocolate and stuff, but, you know, surprisingly, because I thought every kid liked, chocolate, there was this little boy that no one them knows, will not touch it. He hates anything that's got chocolate on it. He's like, "Don't want anything chocolate. If it's got chocolate, he's not eating it." I was like, I always thought all kids like stuff like that, unless they got an allergic, allergy to it or something.
Right.
But not everybody likes that kind of thing. So
No, and I've noticed it more and more as I
mhm.
get older and the new generation of kids coming up. They
Skittles
would
and stuff
rather
like
have
that.
Skittles or something
Yeah,
like that than they would chocolate. I'm like, "What's wrong with you kids?"
yeah.
That's what I wanna
Me,
say.
whenever I was growing up, we would always go to people's houses that we know, and it'd be like these older rich ladies, that my grandma and them knew. Um, And they would always make, like, homemade caramel apples
Yeah.
and, like, the popcorn ball. There's always homemade, like, fudge and stuff, and they give it to you. That you always wanted to hit up their houses because you knew you was gonna get, like, the treats. People don't do that anymore, and I can understand
No.
why.
Yeah.
Ever so often, you'll go to somebody's house, and they'll have stuff like that, but I think I might be one of those parents being like, I don't know if I want you." You know what I mean?
Well,
So
I
I've
think
kinda become that way.
I think part of it is that you don't ever really feel like you know people like you used to
No,
back in the old
no,
days.
no.
Here I am talking about the old days. I'm 48, folks. I feel like
Well,
I'm
I'm
getting old.
38, Dana, so, I mean, I feel old. So, I don't know. Oh my gosh, yes, Chris said that all the candy talk is making him crave a Terry's chocolate orange. They come out with one every year that me and Chris we have to get them. That's something I will get, and I'll
Yeah.
splurge on them because 'cause I'll buy like 10 of them, and it'll last us up until spring. It's the Terry chocolate oranges that's got the, Pop Rocks in it, and
Ooh, that sounds
we
really good.
have you ever had a Terry's chocolate orange?
I have not. Blissful must have because
Oh
she
my
said crisp
gosh.
are yummy.
They are. They're it's a chocolate orange, and you crack it open, and it looks like orange slices.
Huh.
And they're so the chocolate is so good. If you like chocolate,
Hmm.
get you Terry's chocolate and orange. They have them like at Walmart every year, and especially around Christmas time. That's when
Okay.
you'll start seeing them when they start putting out the Christmas candy and stuff. That's
Hmm.
when you'll start seeing them, and don't pass by without getting one. They're kinda they're not that expensive, but if you like
Oh,
chocolate, they're
I'll
fun.
splurge on them because that sounds really good.
Yeah, the ones with the Pop Rocks, I'm telling you, don't miss it. If you can find those, because we couldn't find them last year and we about died. It was like, "Oh, we don't have the Pop Rocks." It just makes it takes it to a whole new level.
Hmm.
Chris said he bought something like that last month at Jungle Gyms. What did you buy? Like, I can't remember, Chris. We bought
Because
some good
y'all got a lot of stuff.
best sushi. Cheap, and it's
I
really great.
remember you telling me that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good. But anyway, I this has made me even more nostalgic for Halloween. I'm getting more
Yeah.
excited about it.
Yeah. And we don't have that many weeks. And I mean,
No,
next weekend is Scarefest. So,
no. Yeah, it is. Oh my gosh, it's just like and I'm so bummed about Joe Dante. I know Chris is. Chris come in there and he was like, "Guess
yeah.
what?" I was like,
I
"No."
was bummed too when I saw that. I was like, man, come on.
Yeah. I first thought he was gonna say Clive Barker
Yeah.
canceled, but he didn't. It was Joe Don I was like, "No."
Because
Because
I wanted to meet Joe Dante.
yeah, definitely. Because I mean, made to me, one of the greatest movies ever made with the Burbs, and you got the Gremlins and stuff, so, I mean, anything he makes, I tend to like it.
Hmm.
Like, to me, he's one of my favorites. He really is. He's like a John Carpenter and a Wes Craven, something like that, he does really well with this stuff, and I just would like to meet him, but, uh, who knows? We might be able
Blissful,
to.
I have not tried the Oreo Coke, but I have on Candace's recommendation. I tried the Coca Cola Oreos, and they had popping candy in those.
Yeah,
Those were good.
we can't find the Oreo Coke. I mean, I've looked everywhere for
I
it.
think I saw it, but I haven't gotten one yet.
Yeah, I don't know. We've looked and looked because I like to try all the different Cokes and stuff. They had one, it was like space flavor one time, and it actually
It's
tasted like
like how do you know what's
well, it tasted like, honestly, like it was I can't even describe what it was like smoky flavored, and it was good. It wasn't bad, but it was odd. So, I don't know.
Blissful wasn't a fan of the Oreo Coke. She said
I
she
can't
tried it.
quite like, to me, it doesn't sound very good, but, I don't know. People didn't like the Beetlejuice, Fanta, but I
I
liked it.
liked it. I liked it.
I
It
did
was
too.
unusual, but I still liked it
Yeah,
though.
because I
Uh,
like that spicy flavor.
right. Chris says it was like in a candy bar wrapping, but they were dish shaped, but were like dish shaped, but they were the chocolate oranges for sure.
Oh, yeah, yeah, I remember him getting that, and we got all kinds of stuff that when we went to that Jungle Gyms, I think we
Yeah,
almost
Candace was
spent like
so
200 bucks.
excited.
We come out with everything. I mean, we had, like, like homemade cream horns, and I bought like big radishes out of the Asian section because I've been wanting pickled
Yeah.
radish and those fermented soybeans.
Yeah.
I bought some of those, and that was interesting. It didn't taste bad. It actually tastes like coffee beans. And then whenever you like stir it up, it gets real slimy. And I've been wanting to try that for forever. And it wasn't bad. I have two more. I don't know when I'm gonna eat it. Probably when I make some sushi or something. But we bought all kinds of stuff, and
Chris says, he says the Beetlejuice Fanta is disgusting if you
I
haven't.
liked it. I
But
think it tastes
Blissful liked
good.
it. She
I like it, which I like apple, and I like the spicy type thing. In the 90s, they used to come out every Christmas with a spiced, I think, was it just called spiced Pepsi? I think is what it's called. And it was just a holiday
I
Pepsi.
think I remember that, yeah.
And me and my brother would go to the place that would sell it around here because it was just one place that would carry it. And we would buy, I don't know how many bottles, so it would last us. Because my dad hated it. I remember he said, "Why'd you buy that? That tastes awful." I was like, "Well, we like it, and that's us."
I liked Crystal Pepsi for the
Oh,
short
I
amount
love
of time,
Crystal
but
Pepsi. And that's been the only thing that's come back. Because
yeah,
Dunkaroos came back and it tasted nothing like Dunkaroos. 3D Doritos came back, tasted nothing like the
yeah,
3D Doritos. But whenever Crystal Pepsi came back, it was on point. I was
yeah.
like, this is, and I knew because we lived out from the Pepsi plant. And whenever they discontinued Crystal Pepsi, they gave us hundreds and hundreds of bottles
Wow.
of in date Crystal Pepsi. So we had Crystal Pepsi in the little glass bottles for like a year after it went out of date.
Chris says Surge came back and it tasted the same.
I never liked Surge to begin
I
with.
didn't. I don't think I've ever drank Surge. And
I drank it.
Blissful said she found some pumpkin spice candy melts,
Oh,
which
that sounds good.
sounds really good.
I
This
love
is
I love
making me
pumpkin spice.
hungry, people.
Well, I got a big pickle I've been sneaking and taking bites off of.
Well, I'm gonna make those. I'm planning on making those brown butter cookies, some homemade
Oh,
brown butter
yes. If you do,
cookies.
let me know if they turned out the way that those from the Yoders tasted.
And speaking of pickled stuff, the baby corn, the dill pickled baby corn
Oh,
that
did you
Candace
try it?
I, it was delicious. I ate the whole dang jar.
Lord, you would, Dana. I said Dana's going to be like me. She's going to finish this whole jar. I believe she's going to like it. That's why I brought it to you because I knew that you would like it.
Oh yeah, and the jar is so cute. I don't want to get rid of the jar uh with the two Amish guys on
Well, I
there.
can always pick you some more up. And they used to come out with these big, huge jars of it, but I've not seen it the last like few times I've been in there. They've not had any, but I love that baby pickle corn. I'm gonna go get me some more tomorrow, probably.
Hot cocoa bombs, Flissel. That sounds good too.
I had gotten the boys some hot cocoa bombs, and they didn't know what they were. I was like, "You throw this into your boiling water."
Mhm.
And when they did it, and they were like, "Wow!" They're just like totally because they had like the little marshmallows, and I think it had like
Yeah.
sprinkles and stuff. I thought that's so cute. But I don't know. I think we're going to make caramel apples. We bought stuff to make caramel apples with, and because my brother's girlfriend was wanting to do that, and I said, well, let's get some stuff. So she got the stuff, and she got like the Heath like little pieces to put on the
Oh,
bottoms and nuts and stuff. So we're going to make those, I think. And then this weekend, we're going to be carving pumpkins and having a big like Halloween cookout and stuff. Make shish kebabs.
that sounds like so much fun. I wish I could get Steve to do something like that. But
Oh, we
the
love
most
it.
Steve has been wanting to do, and we keep saying we're going to do it, and we haven't done it, is we have a projector. We want to go outside and watch a movie. We want to project a movie, and we just
That's I tell you,
haven't.
that's the best thing to do, especially during Halloween. Because I remember one year we did that, and we put it on the side of the house, and we watched Casper,
Yeah.
and the boys loved it. But we actually want to build a actual, um, I don't know what you would like a big screen, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
build a big screen in our backyard. But Chris is like, why don't we just buy one of those big, huge blow up things? Because you could actually sit up on our patio and
Mm-hmm.
look down into our yard because we have such a big backyard, and you could sit there and watch it like a drive-in or something.
Yeah.
Speakers up here and stuff, and that's our dream is to make a like a backyard like projector like theater,
Oh yeah.
invite people over and have cookouts because
Well, Steve don't want to invite nobody over.
I
Steve
tell you,
ain't that so.
well, I mean, I'm social if everything's
I
going
am too,
well.
but Steve is like, I hate to call him antisocial, but
I'm kind of in between. You know me, Dana. I if got too much going on. I shut everybody out. I'm just the way I am. Dana has to
yeah.
drag me on here. I mean, just really not because I
No,
don't want
I
to.
wouldn't really say I have to drag her on
No,
here, but most of the time Candace is gung ho for this, and sometimes both of us are just like,
yeah.
oh,
Oh,
we're just
I
not
love doing it.
feeling it.
I love doing Friday Foolish. It's just like, you know, life gets at you. And whenever life gets at me, I tend to shut down
I do,
and shut
I
people.
do too to some extent. And Candace has been privy to me doing that, and we kind of help each other out when we're
Yeah,
coming
if it wasn't for
across like
Dana, I wouldn't do anything. That's why, I'm glad that I have something like this to come on to because I mean, I would just be sitting just like lost in everything that I have to do. I don't have a break. I wouldn't have a break to do anything. It just stuff that gets so busy. It
that.
seems to me like, or something's always, how life goes, just feels like something's always going on and always happening and going on, which I would rather be busy than not busy. I mean, not
Right.
having nothing to do would probably be the worst thing in the world, um, but the thing is that, you if you allow yourself to get overwhelmed, then you will, and I'm the type of person to get overwhelmed. I get overwhelmed pretty quickly, but that's why I have to, I asked Tana, I said, "You think we can do this about an hour?" Because, I got that let me tell you something. I thought going back to school was gonna be okay, but it is not easy at all, and Dana knows the
But again, and I've said this over and over again, I'm very proud of Candace for making that step and
Yes.
going back to school. As hard as it is, especially, and I'm not saying Candace is old. I'm just saying that when we get
Yeah,
older,
yeah.
though, and you got try to go back to school, it is a little bit more difficult, and in some cases, a whole lot more difficult.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Just Candace is it blows my mind the amount of work that she tells me that she has to do for some of these
It's
classes.
it's
Uh,
a lot. It really is, especially in writing and psychology. I didn't realize that it was gonna be like such a I mean, you take somebody who's not, I'm not some kid that's just coming out of high school. I have a life, a family. I got to take care of stuff. I'm busy anyway, and then you put this work that could last somebody 3 weeks and cram it all into 1 week, and you're like, oh my gosh, how am I going to get through all this? And to
well,
me,
yeah, it's when you're a wife and a mother and a
you know,
pet mom and all, and then you got this these college classes on top of that.
mhm,
It's hard. It's
yeah,
very difficult.
it is. But like I tell Dana, I might complain, but I am so thankful that I have the opportunity to finally get to do what I wanna do. I wanna be a teacher, so,
Yeah.
that's what I want to do, and that's what I want to be, and I think it's finally time for me to go for that. So if I don't do it now, I'm never gonna do it. So, I have to go through with it, and I just pray that I can make it through it.
I
That
think
feeling.
I think Candace will. I have the utmost faith in her. Now, I wanted to show something that I don't think I've showed on here before we get off of here, since we're talking about Halloween and things like that. And I think I'm actually going to use it tonight. When I don't know if I want to take a bath or I just want to have this going while I'm taking a shower.
Yeah,
But permit me to remove myself a second, and I'll
okay.
be right back.
See some of these comments here. Thank you, Blissful. I appreciate it. I'm glad people's proud of me because you think to yourself, I don't think I can do this, but when you hear people say, "Hey, I'm proud of you for doing it," it kind of gives you some kind of, I guess, boost to do what you got to do, I guess. And Victor said, I just grilled steaks and we're going to start a bonfire here. Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah,
Starting a
that
bonfire.
sounds really fun.
Yeah, it does. And it really is true. He says the little things in life make life worthwhile. And that's definitely the truth. It's the little things, you know.
See, that's why I love that Victor's back. Because Victor always says those things that really hit home in a good way.
Yeah.
Um, but this is what I wanted to show off. And I told Candice about this little guy. This is actually a bath candle.
I
This
love
is
that.
actually meant to be used in your bathroom. And it I mean, it don't smell like Halloween, but it smells good. It smells like lavender.
And it's
But
got a little duck.
yeah, and we got one candle that's a little duck, and I don't think I'm going to burn that because I don't want to burn that little ducky down. But you do have a wick that's in the middle here. But I love this skeleton dude.
Yeah.
He's just relaxing there. So when I burn this and this wax starts melting, it's gonna be like he's like, ah, you know.
But I was
I'm
going to say something, but I might make Dana mad.
no, you don't know
Can
my
I
name.
see the candle up close? You better be glad that wick ain't a little bit further back.
No.
I started looking at that and I was like,
Yeah, they could have made a very bad mistake and they
I'm sorry, you know me, I'm dirty minded. I can't help it.
Candace got her mind in the gutter again. No, I'm just kidding. But no, that didn't make me mad at all. It made me laugh, as y'all can tell. TJ says Beetlejuice Fanta was ass.
Hey, well, you know, I
TJ
can
was
see why people didn't like it. I can see where people didn't like it, but I enjoy it. But I like stuff like that.
well, I
My mom
know
didn't like it.
Hope was asking people had they tried that back when
Yeah,
it came out. And I said, I've tried it. And I said, but don't be expecting it to be like a green apple, like
green
a
apple.
sour
Yeah,
apple. It's not like that.
yeah, that's what we thought it was at first. But I will say this, even though I like it and I've bought it a couple times, it's not something that I would buy all the time because it's very, very sweet and heavy on the stomach.
Yeah,
Like, you know, it
yeah.
just kinda, you know, you drink the whole bottle
You
and you feel
can't
sick.
gulp it. I wouldn't
No,
recommend you gulp it.
no, I wouldn't wanna eat it or drink it with something I was eating with like eating a meal or something because it'd be too much.
Yeah. It's kind of like I get those boba teas.
Mhm.
And Steve looks at me and he's like, I'll get a hibachi dinner and get a
Yeah.
boba tea. And he's like, how in the world do you do that?
That reminds me, Dana, I bought a huge, I mean, it's this big and about that tall, full of green apple popping boba from Jungle Gyms, and now I just gotta get
Oh,
the boba straws because
yeah.
the kids have been like, "Hey, when we gonna be able to eat these boba?" And I'm like,
uh,
Chris said, "Why'd you buy a big old thing of boba?" I said, "'Cause we're gonna eat it." What do you think we
I love boba tea,
I do
especially
too.
the brown. I love the brown sugar boba tea.
Oh, yes, those are like they taste kinda like a not caramel, but like a what do you like brown sugar. They're brown sugar, right?
Mhm. And I figured out, I thought this one place that me and Steve went to, this one Japanese place, did not have the brown sugar boba tea because
Mm,
that wasn't what it was called. But they had something called Tiger boba tea. And
I like
I asked the
brown sugar.
waitress, I said, what's this Tiger boba tea? And they were like, oh, I'm new. I don't know. So they asked one of the other
Mhm.
people there and they said, oh, it's got brown sugar and stuff. I was
So
like, I
same
want that one.
yeah, same thing, yeah. I remember one time because the brown sugar, like boba balls is what, you know, I had first tried, and I liked it, and I remember we went one place, and I was getting the brown sugar boba balls, but whenever I started drinking it and chewing into the it was black licorice, and I about died.
See,
Like,
I love black licorice. I
my
take
mom
after my
does.
granddaddy
My
loving
mom
this stuff.
loves black licorice. Like, the
Mhm.
black licorice jelly beans, anything like that.
Yes, yes, yeah. The black licorice Twizzlers.
Yes. And, you know, that's one of the reasons why I won't try pho again, but people's like or pho. pho, I guess is what it's called. Um, you've tried it. You eat pho, right, Dana? PHO.
Oh, I think so. I think so.
And I hope I'm saying that right. I'm pretty sure that that's how it's pronounced. But because the first time that I had tried it, it tasted like licorice, anus, or what?
Mm.
You like is it called anus?
Or is
Or
it anise or how?
I
I
always
don't
call
know.
it anus. I don't know.
Anise. Yeah, I
Anus.
don't know.
I'm gonna call it anus, Dana, because that's just what I
It's
know.
probably
Like my papa liked whorehound
that's
candy.
probably what Candace thinks it tastes like somebody's anus.
You know what? But my mom, or I got my mom a bag of the Wally Wallaby. Like, that's the
Uh-huh.
best licorice in the world, and I like the black licorice in that. It was good. It tasted different. But I read where this man, I know this is totally off topic. I read where this man ate so much black licorice that it either killed him or almost killed him
Holy cow! I'm in danger of probably being dead then because
because it's
oh,
got something in it that can kill you if you eat too
oh
much
my
of
god,
it.
I'm in trouble because I'll eat a whole bag of black jelly beans at Easter time. I want to get the bags of all black jelly beans.
I've
And
got them for my
look,
mom before. Yeah,
oh
she
my
loves
gosh,
it.
people look at me so strange. The checkout girls at Walmart or whatever look at me like, "What is wrong with you?"
Shh, Chris on there.
That's why I'm sorry. I didn't mean to laugh, and I saw it.
He's
Oh
he'll jump in the lake, man.
well, I
I'm
guess we probably should tie this up, or Candace won't have time to work on her schoolwork
gonna be
or
on
do
a high. I'm
anything
not gonna be
else.
able to work on. I'll be on a Friday Foolish high. Talking about this candy and all this stuff. Be thinking about it.
But I think for y'all's enjoyment and me and Candace enjoyment too, I think next week for am I gonna yeah, well, not next week, but the week after. No, it's a Saturday. I don't know. I'm getting confused on late Fridays that I gotta work and Saturdays. So maybe I'll have to look, but I don't think it's next week that I gotta work a late Friday. So me and Candace, if Candace is agreeable to it, we'll do another one of these favorite fall
Yeah,
and Halloween films, and we can mix it up kind of like we did today and talk about Halloween candy and make everybody hungry and caramel apples and candy apples and all that jazz. And
maybe
uh,
we can try some Halloween candy or something.
yeah, we'll have a like a taste test thing. Maybe
Yeah,
we can find some because I gotta buy my Halloween candy
yeah, we
too
do
here soon.
too.
I gotta start getting my little bags, my biohazard bags ready for the trick or treaters. Maybe I'll show those next week whenever we do Friday Foolish, and y'all can see my little biohazard bags. Chris, you're gonna hear that all night, Candace, about Halloween anus.
Shh, ain't nothing new. Ain't nothing new.
We got Chris started. He's gonna be on that.
I'm gonna buy you a big old bag of anus.
Oh man! But Candace, is there anything that you want to say before we tie it up for this
No,
evening?
nothing I can think of. Just I've enjoyed myself. I'm glad that
I
I
had
got
to.
to
This was
come.
fun.
I had to go grocery shopping, and I was so tired coming from that. I was like, I just need to relax. So this is a way to wind down from
Mhm.
doing that crap. Now we gotta go put the groceries up before I do anything.
You have a good night too, Victor. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your bonfire and all that stuff. That sounds really
It
cool.
does sound good.
But
Thanks for watching.
yes, well, I want to thank everybody that watched, even if you weren't in the chat. We've had 11 or so people
Yeah,
or close to it during most of this stream. And I'm grateful for everybody because I always say some people don't feel comfortable chatting, and that's fine. If you
yeah,
just want
totally.
to hang out in the background and watch me and Candace as we talk about this stuff, that is perfectly fine. People that didn't get to watch us live this evening, You can watch it on the replay. I don't think it's going anywhere. I don't think we said anything. We said anus a few times, but I don't think YouTube's going to pull it for that.
Hey, we're talking about the ingredient,
Yeah.
the
And
spice.
we made a joke about my candle, but
Hey,
I
I
don't
kept it PG.
yeah, Candace didn't, use words that, might get people upset. And I always mark these streams as not for
Yeah.
kids. So I try to do my part just in case something were, to pop up in here. We don't want to get in trouble with the powers that be. But with all that being said, me and Candace are off like a couple of dirty shirts. We do not have dirty shirts on, but we're off like one. And I have come up with a design for my catchphrase that I always have at the end. And it's not just a catchphrase, it's something that I believe in and I feel like
Your
Candace.
motto.
Yeah, my motto. And I've got to get that together. And as soon as I get it together, I'm going to send it to Candace because I've got the idea in my head for what I want that logo to be for the shirt. But I'm going to tell you my motto, like I always do at the end of these streams and videos, or I try to do it every time. And I got to figure out what in the heck's wrong with my Hellfire Club light because it just kept going off. But I want to remind everybody to be kind to one another and blaze that trail. Have a fantastic Friday evening, folks. Watch you some Halloween or fall type movies. Hopefully, me and Candace have got y'all going and wanting to
Oh yeah.
watch that stuff. Get you some Halloween candy. Get you some candy apples, caramel apples,
Beetlejuice Fanta.
Beetlejuice Fanta. Uh, even though Chris said he didn't like it, TJ didn't like it, but
Which
hey,
I think that's streaming now. Or yeah, I believe it's streaming now.
yeah. And Steve tells me he's going to get me a version of it, and that's all I'm going to say. Actually, I think he's already got it.
Ooh.
But I want to sit down with him and watch it, so maybe we can watch it over the
I hope
weekend.
y'all like it.
I guarantee I'm gonna like it. I got this feeling not only from talking to Candace, but from other people saying different things about it. I think I'm gonna like it. Yeah, and Chris says go try some of that Beetlejuice anus.
My God. Ooh, gross.
I don't think any anus would be good, but Beetlejuice anus would be.
Juice and anus just don't go just don't go well together. You know.
Oh man, we gotta get off here before Chris starts in more with the anus talk. But anyway, Candace is gonna have to hear about that all night now. She'll be trying to do her schoolwork, and he'll be going anus, anus. Hey, Candace, anus. I'm not
Say
trying
it
to
3 times. What do you get?
Candace is going to say, "Get out of here! I'm going to punch you in the nose." I'm trying to work here.
Punch in the anus.
But she'll kick him in the anus or something. But I've kicked Steve in the anus before, just playfully, not in a mean way. But anyways, we're going to get off here for the evening, even though we got 13 to 15 people in here now.
Yeah.
But y'all watching on the replay, if you came in late, you can always start at the beginning and watch us from the beginning. And be sure to stay tuned because the next Friday Foolish will be a continuation of this topic. It'll be part 2. And stay tuned for my Terror Time tea when I get off my lazy butt and decide to pre-record it. And I'll try to have tea this time. I was drinking a dang alcoholic drink and didn't have my tea. It's like, what in the heck's wrong with you, dang? It's Terror
Next time you can have alcoholic tea.
Yeah. Yeah, I could. Or I may mix it up sometime in the near future and have some iced tea instead of having hot tea. And I might put a little booze in. So a little booze in there, and then we'll have an adult tea. We'll have adult iced tea. Well, I could have Long Island iced tea.
You could, yeah. Those are
But,
good.
I don't know if I should do too much of that, but anyway, before we get completely crazy here, and also stay tuned for my Scarefest update because I haven't been. I'm sorry, Scarefest. Please forgive me. Y'all gave me media passes, and then I didn't hold up my end of the deal. But I am going to Sunday have a pre-recorded video. Any updates on Scarefest, I'll be sharing those with you guys and gals on that video. So stay tuned for all of that. And me and Candice are out of here, and we'll see everybody next time. Have a good evening, folks. We'll
See
see
ya.
you again.